Well, we've had plenty of comments about this as well, Keith, in the comment section below about Celtic's stalled transfer window, for want of a better phrase. If you want to get involved in the conversation, please do so, and we'll try and read out as many comments as we can. Mark says, Ida's been there 18 months, Kenny 6 months, Shin for 45 minutes, and I'm more excited about him than the other two. AJSC Tech says, Tilly started the game for us. Just let that sink in. No, really, the club is run by spreadsheet managers. He then goes on to say, Lol and Nicholson think thrifty is the new sexy. They even buy their wives' lingerie from Lidl and Woolworths. We can't confirm if that's true or false. And these ones here, Fraser says, once again...
A bit of a dark turn.
I did a wee bit. Fraser says, once again, Celtic are extracting the fluids from fans who stump up a pretty penny year on year, same old dilly-dally, low ball bids, total silence for a week, and tumbleweed blowing down London Road. Same old claptrap. I'm afraid our club is taking liberties with the fans. Why are we playing the likes of Yang in friendlies when he's supposed to be at the exit door? And just finally, Keith, Michael says, I think it's time to get rid of Peter Lawwell and Dermot Desmond. We need two centre halves, a right winger, a decent striker, another good playmaker in midfield. Ida is never going to do it. Celtic just need to get on. Celtic need to spend on getting quality in. Stop the chat. Let's get some action on the transfers. So I think the message is Celtic fans are getting a bit impatient now.
It's got to build, isn't it? And you know, the longer it goes, and rightly so. You can, you know, I've said time and again, and I'm sure that I'll be proven correct this summer as well. Celtic will spend, and they will spend significant sums, but there has to be a bit of order and a bit of urgency to it. And the other thing is that's feeding into this sort of feeling of unrest among some of the Celtic supporters is that, you know, they probably won't like to admit it, but Rangers are getting their house in order. You know, we had that conversation with Paul Murray last week about Andrew Kavanagh and what he's going to bring to the table at Rangers. This is a different challenge. And I know Celtic fans will roll their eyes and they're fed up here now. Rangers are coming again and all the rest of it. But this does feel like a different sort of challenge that's going to come from the other side of the city. And even if you look at the business that Rangers are doing and attempting to do in the transfer market, the Raksaki, the winger at Crystal Palace, the very mention of trying to get a player on loan with an obligation to buy, whether that fee is 10 million or 8 million, it's been disputed. But these are numbers that Rangers couldn't have been looking at previously. So you know, if that's the level of player that they're trying to bring in, it does underline that Rangers, you know, and I know that Celtic fans won't kind of necessarily agree, and they probably point a finger and laugh at Rangers, and you know, 13 titles out of the last 14 tells you why. Celtic are in complete control of all the survey in their own backyard here, but there's something happening over at Rangers, and it would be silly for Celtic just to assume that the next door neighbours are going to be miles behind again, because you know Celtic have run themselves really cleverly in terms of always see around the curve, be better than them, be stronger than them, and by doing that you'll stockpile trophies, you'll make a ton of money, and they've been brilliant at it. But they can't sleep at the wheel this summer, and I think that just even the mention of Rangers looking at players potentially costing £8 or £10 million, you know, that will make Celtic supporters go, well, any chance we can get the finger out here, because Celtic need work done. And there's no doubt about it. When you think about it, Jota's going to be in a treatment table probably for the rest of this year. Hasn't been adequately replaced. Nicholas Kuna's gone, hasn't been adequately replaced. Kyogo went away in January, wasn't adequately replaced. So there's a real strong potential Celtic front three, and it's not there anymore.
Aye.
So that tells you that there is serious work to be done. And this, we're now getting to this point where we've floated the idea of, is it a kind of two-tier Celtic signing strategy this summer? Well, I hope it is for Celtic's sake and for Brendan Rodgers' sake. And I hope that we're about to see what the second kind of tier looks like. Because, you know, I don't think it'd be wise for Celtic to sit in their hands now and think that they're so far ahead and Rangers have got so much work to do, which they do, by the way. And we've mentioned that as well. Russell Martin, standard start, he's got so much to do. Celtic can probably look at it and say, we're in good nick, we're in really good shape. And the chances are that with the squad already there, they're going to be more than strong enough to retain their title and push for a domestic treble. But I don't think that sort of attitude will be acceptable to Brendan Rodgers or the Celtic supporters. Quite clearly, they want to see some action. They want to see some new faces. And whether it's Brendan Rodgers, who does deserve to be backed, or the supporters who do deserve to be given something to get excited about. So for all those reasons, Daniel, I really do anticipate the next 2-3 weeks, certainly 2 weeks, you would think there's going to be some serious activity in terms of incoming. There has to be.
There's some Celtic fans that are scoffing at your Rangers predictions in the comments.
Well, I knew they would.
Hugh says Rangers getting their house in order. Where have we heard that before? Keith JJ says my eyes are rolling. Rangers are permanently a level below. Look, I think Rangers have got a lot of work to do, as you say, but I think that's really naive if you just think Rangers are always going to be second best.
Well, you can't. It's no way to plan, is it? That you just make the assumption that Rangers are so far out the picture now that they're not even serious challengers, and that has been the case. So it's natural too. It's maybe understandable, because just look at the trophies that Celtic have amassed over this last period. A total and complete dominance. But if you can't see with your own eyes that this is a different version of Rangers that you're likely to get from Andrew Kavanagh and the 49ers, and whether or not Russell Martin works out in the long term as coach, we don't know. But you can see the level has gone up a little bit in terms of what they're striving to put together. And Celtic have to respond to that. And it would be silly not to. And I can't believe, actually, there's Celtic fans out there that are probably the same ones that are climbing the wall saying, why are we not signing anybody? That now want to dismiss Rangers, that this isn't real, that there is no threat. Because that's how you stagnate. And if Celtic want to stagnate, then they should listen to opinions like that.
So are you still confident, Keith, that Celtic will spend significantly before the transfer window shuts?
Yeah, I'm 100%, because they always do. But I just feel that there should have been a greater degree of urgency this year. I think there might be a late rush. And if I'm Brendan Rodgers, and I think there should be an emphasis on satisfying the demands of Brendan Rodgers, because he's, elite level manager who is doing a terrific job as Celtic. You need to try and satisfy him. And you need to satisfy him by getting players in that he can work with and get ready well ahead of this Champions League playoff doubleheader, because he needs to get them into his team, assimilated, up to speed, all the sort of usual rhetoric and cliches. But it's already starting to look a little bit late in the day. So Celtic really need to get a move on and get a hurry up in terms of, if there are players out there that Brendan Rodgers has identified that makes his starting 11 stronger for these matches, then the sooner they're in the building, the better. And then everybody can calm down a little bit and get on with the season.
The Quinny says there, Celtic surely have got 20 to 30 million still to spend. The Slabbering Cabbage says, we are so far short of where we need to be. It's utterly ridiculous. Just fine on this, Keith. Why does it always feel the same with Celtic? Why is it? It feels like the window drags on and on and on before they actually get something done.
Well, that's why.
Is that a strategy? Is it deliberate?
Sometimes it is, because sometimes you're looking at players that there's a bit of competition, that it's going to take a bit of time. Sometimes it's players that are waiting to find out if they got a future elsewhere, or these things can take time. And Celtic have got a little bit of the business done, but not the main planks of the business. As we keep coming back to, they need at least two wingers. They probably need Brendan Rodgers probably wants a real sort of a marquee signing as a striker, and they probably need a centre half, a left-sided centre half. So that's quite a lot. And the reason that I kind of say to you, Daniel, that I fully expect, because they always do, and this is the thing, and you kind of see that there's a familiar pattern. It takes a bit of time. The Celtic fans get a little bit annoyed about it, impatient, whatever you like. But at the end of the window, when 9 times out of 10 by the end of the window, Celtic are a lot stronger than they were going into it. That wasn't the case in January, it must be said. So they can't make the same mistake 2 successive windows